Hey, what's up everybody? Chris here, and I'm bringing you my thoughts on Predator Badlands. You may notice I'm in my car in my garage recording this because in my normal area in the house where I record my reviews, my son is currently doing some laundry and it's kind of loud, and I just thought it would be easier to get my thoughts down this way. And I'm traveling this weekend, so I just saw the movie. Wanted to be sure that I did upload a review of it, however brief it may be. But it's interesting, walking out of this one, this is one of the few movies that I can remember in recent memory where I really came away, I'm gonna turn this light on here, maybe that'll help a little bit. I really came away with a lot of mixed feelings. If you look at this on Rotten Tomatoes, it's at like 85%, something like that. And again, if you think about what Rotten Tomatoes is, it's just people either saying, I do recommend this or I don't recommend this, and then it's an aggregate score of that, right? So with that in mind, do I recommend the movie? I'm of two kind of schools of thought here, having watched the film, just, finished watching it an hour or two ago. I would not say it's a good traditional Predator movie at all. It's not trying to be that, but if you go into it expecting to have some of that same kind of stuff, right? Sort of the dread, the hunt. There are hunting elements, obviously, as you would hope there are in any Predator movie, but not in the same way as there are in the original film or even in Prey. I will start by saying, I guess also this, I think Prey and Predator Killer of Killers are both better than this movie. Like, I have no doubts about that. But if you go into this expecting a traditional Predator movie, you are going to be disappointed by what transpires as part of the plot. If you go into this wanting science fiction spectacle, if you want a sci-fi action spectacle, then you might really enjoy this a lot. There are elements of this movie that I really love. Without getting, I guess, too overly spoilery, this brings in a lot of stuff from the Alien franchise. Now, if you've seen the trailers for this, none of that should be surprising. One of the main characters, played by Elle Fanning, I believe, is a synthetic, a Weyland-Yutani synthetic. And so, again, they're not shying away at all that I guess eventually there's going to be, I guess, a more, I don't know, concrete merging of these things, even though we've had an Alien versus Predator movie, which was very mediocre at best. I still actually enjoyed a lot about that movie, mediocre, but again, from a sci-fi action perspective, there's a lot to like here. You're on a hostile alien world, and let me backtrack. I know I'm all over the place here. Let me just tell you a little bit about the plot. We follow a Yautja warrior who is regarded as the weakest member of his clan. He is not respected at all by his father. In fact, in that culture, they cull weakness. And so there's a setup early on where he ends up going to one of the deadliest planets in the universe. And he is hell-bent on killing this creature that is supposedly unkillable to prove his worth and to earn his spot in his clan and all of that kind of stuff. So, but, he's very clearly sort of ousted by his family and not respected by his family. So when he gets there, eventually he discovers a Weyland-Yutani synthetic that has been severely damaged by the very thing that he's hunting. She offers to help him. He reluctantly agrees. He keeps referring to her as a tool, a device, right? Because she's a synthetic. But there are strong parallels between her situation and his situation where they've been ousted by their family. And the very clear message here is that you can make your clan whatever you want your clan to be, right? You can make your family whoever you want your family to be, and proactively doing that is beneficial, and it's okay not to go it on your own, so to speak. He constantly is saying, y'all should, hunt alone, that sort of thing. But obviously he needs help, she needs help, and that's one of the messages here, is that it's okay to ask for help. I think it's very on the nose at points with that. There is another sort of sidekick character that crops up and plays an important role, especially later in the movie. This almost like a Disney-fied kind of thing. Again, not trying to get too spoilery here. And they're playing that character for comedic effect, and I think sometimes it works. Sometimes I was just kind of like, I don't know. And I think the thing that I kept coming back to is, do I really want like a family values, sort of central subtext from a Predator movie? Like, is that why I'm seeing a Predator movie? I don't know. Like, I see it for just sort of the dread and the buildup, and to see, I guess in the more traditional Predator films, the human characters kind of survive and demonstrate their own prowess and get respect from, the Predator culture in that way. So they try to elevate this into something a little bit more than what we normally get. And in that sense, I do respect the movie. And again, from a sci-fi action point of view, I think there is a lot to love here. Now, it is rated PG-13, and I would say don't let that deter you from seeing it if you have an interest in it. It gets around that rating by having really sort of an army of synthetics that are central Yautja. Am I saying that right? The central predator protagonist has to sort of wade through. So there's no actual human blood in this. There's a lot of alien gore, a lot of alien blood, and a lot of robots being dismembered and things like that. But that's how they can maintain a PG-13 rating. But they don't shy away from any of that. So you do have some of the traditional kind of stuff, the traditional violence you would think that you associate with a Predator movie. So I guess to sum it up, as I've been kind of scattershot here, from a sci-fi action perspective, I like what this was doing, and I like that one of its key goals, I think, also was to just expand Predator lore. Like, I appreciate that about the movie. From a traditional Predator film point of view, I didn't really like it that much, quite honestly. And I think when you've got, because, you know, in most of the Predator movies, they're not communicating verbally. You got a little bit of that in The Predator, which I thought was a very bad movie. Didn't like that at all. Here, you've got a lot of actual conversation. And it's not like it's cheesy conversation, but when you start to humanize the Predator and to make the Predator kind of a little bit touchy-feely as things goes on, as things sort of progress and things develop, I don't know, that sort of loses the essence of what the Predator movie should be, in my opinion. But I appreciate this attempt to add a lot to the lore. And from a sci-fi action perspective, it works. So do I recommend it? I think it depends on what you want out of a Predator movie. If you want a traditional Predator movie, no, I don't recommend it. I think you can catch it on streaming and then kind of, you know, weigh its merits then. If you're cool with the idea of doing something completely different and you just want sort of a sci-fi action film, then sure. And the action sequences, I will say, are really good. The planet itself, I think it's called Jenna. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but it is really cool. It's like I'm not going to say a more dangerous version of Pandora from the Avatar films, but kind of a little bit like that. So very mixed feelings on this. I know, so I took my two kids to see it, especially my 11-year-old. I was kind of on the fence about that, but because it was PG-13, I was like, it's probably going to be fine. He loved it. He's like, oh, I would give this an 8 out of 10. My older son was like, yeah, I'd give it a 6 or 7. 6, 7, right? That's what and that's what the kids do. When he said that, of course, my younger son started doing it. Whatever. I have no idea what that even means. But I would kind of agree with my older son. I would give it like a 6. Elements I liked, some elements I didn't like. I don't know that I'll like, you know, rush out to rewatch it. Like if I catch it on YouTube TV down the line and it's on, I might watch it for an hour and then move on to something else. But I would much rather go back to Prey and see more movies like Prey. That's just me. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Predator Badlands. If you've seen it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, thanks so much for watching.